Hello. Made some progress since the last part I put up on YouTube. What does that mean? Oh, wait for it to boot up. There you go, it's booted up. Some of these switches look a bit like they're not operating properly with me, but when you got your foot on them, you push hard. They're spring-loaded. They're physically designed for your foot, not with your hand like this. So it looks like I'm struggling with them, but if you press them properly with your foot, press them hard, they work well enough. You get used to that. So, what I've done since the last video is two things. I've finished wiring up the switches and the LEDs, which makes this look a bit messier. So, the first earlier video where I was quite neat about all this wiring for the control terminals to the switches and to the LEDs, laid on top of that, or on top of that, is the switches to get the common earths for all the wires to get the common earths for all the switches and the common earths for all the LEDs. I haven't, and that includes a few coloured LEDs as you saw there, and so all the earths are connected to this one pin here, which is the common earth. Oh, I just put my hand near the soldering iron and realised that I didn't unplug that last night. Yeah. Just leave a bit of tin on it so it doesn't... this crappy old soldering iron. I've had this for years and I keep buying new soldering irons because this is rubbish and old. But I buy cheap ones, and all the new ones break, and this one just keeps going. So cheap is really cheap these days. Cheap used to be not so cheap, whatever. Anyway, what I've done then is all the really tedious part about this project. So it hasn't been the most exciting thing so far, but just to recap, I went through how the physical dimensions of this are driven by a few factors, mostly about how you access the switches, how the components are laid out here, the Arduino Mega board. There's a few components I still have mounted here, the LCD display, and this is a USB connector, the switches, first up the control terminal wiring, and how there's a process to lay them out, and I've connected all the common earths and connected all the LEDs. So we're at the stage there where, as I showed in the start of this video, where all the wiring is done for the basic operation of the switches to turn LEDs on and off. So turning LEDs on and off is not that functional, but that structure in the sketch file is creating the space where you can do all the commands. So the LED switch commands are where you'll put in the things that happen when the LEDs turn on and off. So I've created a new sketch called VO2, which incorporates all the code to do the switching, which you'll find is repetitive of what was in the previous video, which was just switch 14. So I don't know if there's much more I can explain about this. All that's happened is this white wire is connecting to each switch and each LED, and each LED is wired up with the resistor on the positive longer leg and the which is here. Sorry, where have I put the resistor? I've put the resistor on the negative legs on these ones for some reason. No, it's just a lump of solder. Don't worry. Yeah, so that's what I've done. As I said, this is the really repetitive, tedious part, at least the physical wiring. So the next steps, I'll go through the sketch file for all the switches, and from there start looking at how we send Midi commands, which will mean we have to wire up a DIN plug, which will go here in this panel here. So I've got to fix this panel onto it and fix the DIN plug in there.